July the 3rd, 2016. I'm Dana Durnford, your host, nuclearproctologist.org. And you can find these videos at Beautiful Girl on YouTube. And I do think we got a great show tonight for everybody. We're just waiting for confirmation that we're live streaming. Looks good. And hi everybody that's joining the live stream. And it's an impromptu live stream as usual lately for the last number of weeks. I burnt out after 2 years. And the story we're going to tell tonight is going to include a lot of studies on plutonium, uranium, and it's going to include a basic understanding of where we're to and what's ahead and what's behind us in the context of a nuclear accident known as Fukushima Daiichi reactors. Daiichi is number 1. That's how you pronounce 1 in Japanese. And so it gets confusing sometimes because you got Unit 1, Reactor 1, and then you got the Daini plant is 10 kilometers away. That's number 2 plant. But then they got the number 1 reactor. So it gets really confusing when you first join into this mix of conversations. What you're looking at is a picture of Hiroshima. And now they've been studying that for 70 years, the fallout of Hiroshima. And they don't study intake, they study exterior. So they don't study ingestion with food or water or breathing the hot particles when it happened. The Japanese are victims, and that's going to be no more clearer than it's ever been in your lifetime tonight. That will not be no more clearer. And if you look at that picture right now, what do you see? That building behind me is number 4. And the destruction of the buildings behind it, there's something eerie about that when you look at it in that context, yeah? All good. Thanks, Shanigan. Hi, CJ. Hi, Amthers. Hi, Deb. I haven't checked my emails, Deb, but if you send me a number, I'll give you a call. You bet. And I know you're having problems. Hi, everybody. I'm just making sure that the stream is going. Thank you, Amthirst. You're awesome, by the way. Thank you. I love your music, too. You're an amazing musician. You got amazing vocals. Incredible vocals. And plus, you're extraordinarily good. So let's go with your music in context. You got a lot more experience than I do, obviously, by your skills. And my site is about music. And music is about... It's something that's... Humans naturally lights up 19% of your brain that you don't normally use. So music is a very important tool for industry, for commercials. You can't, most of the commercials are 145 bluesies for many decades. Everything's good. Okay, here we go. So tonight, there's today's story. U.S. states and agencies work together in tracking Fukushima radiation. And that's what brought us to this point here tonight. And I have so much I couldn't possibly just make the video. So I decided I'll try a live stream in the hopes that that'll work better. And so as you go down that story, the ocean's full of radiation from natural sources. So you can't have a conversation with somebody when they do that to you. It's just a waste of time to bother reading it now because they said that. Oh, the ocean's full of natural radiation. And hence is the problem. This is why we're running at a cliff at 1,000 miles per hour. And it's a long way to the bottom and nothing is going to come out of that crash. And this has been ongoing for 5 years, and to me the game is over. But this is not going to be Earth's last stand is not going to be we whimpered. It's going to be we roared, I can assure you. Efforts is in danger of failing and reactor 2 had to cover in cement. So Chernobyl, they covered it in a sarcophagus per se. which is what they were talking about in that, alluding to in that conversation here. And the importance of this is that that's what they didn't do to Chernobyl in Japan. Excuse me, I'm burping. So they didn't do that in Japan. How come? Because it's in a chain reaction, and Elvis has left each of the reactor buildings. Is one way to look at it. And so, just come back for 1 second. So the ocean is full of radiation from natural sources. Okay. So if you take a gram of man-made stuff, it's 1,000,000 watts, and that's why the reactors run the way they do and supply the power. It's a neat trick from 400 train car loads of iron ore and hundreds of train car loads of chemicals and everything else, and you break it all down, you get a gram. So it's the size of that, and it's quite a trick, right? Does 1,000,000 watts, like a 1,000,000 watts. 1,000,000 watts. Think about that one. Real watts for extended periods. Okay. So the comparison of natural stuff is, the only way you can explain it is in nature, like you see in potassium fields where they have these big mounds of potassium, the big conveyor belts and all this other stuff. You won't see that in the nuclear industry. But before we get moving and boogieing and rolling through all of what we got to cover here, I want to set that stage and make sure you understand this permanently. So in nature, 162 emitters, but they can't mutate a fruit fly. Okay. And that a gram of it can't run your watch. It can't power a solar light bulb. It can't do anything. It has no benefit outside its potassium, and everything on the planet is acclimated through genetic superior selection. Okay. Now, let's equate that 162,000 atoms per gram of natural with flashlights. And the flashlights we're going to use are about the size of my pinky, and the batteries are almost dead. But if you turn the lights off and you strain your eyes really good, you can kind of see 162,000 little tiny lights. Okay, that's how weak it is. But a gram of natural radiation is 1,000,001 watt light bulbs. And think of the halogen light bulbs with lithium iron phosphorus batteries powering it at full power that recharges themselves for 9 months. Versus a gram of natural stuff with 162 flashlights the size of your pinky, you can't see them, and the batteries are almost flat. So significant difference. So why would you mention it? Because out of the 5,500 elements on the planet, 160 are emitters. And they don't really emit anything. They can, over 1,000,000 years, they can mutate a fruit fly maybe. But the fruit fly would be petrified, so it wouldn't really matter. And let's rock and roll. Effort is in danger of failing. And so that was quite a startling. In months into the crisis, and utility acknowledges there is no end in sight. So the effort in danger of failing unless, and so we talk about this many times, where they sacrificed a lot of homeless and destitute and immigrants who don't speak the language, and they continue to do that. And there's some conflicting evidence about how many people's on the site. I know they claim 7,000, but we'll get to that later. But this is the beginning of it here. And let me get out of that for 1 second. This is a hard picture to look at coming up. And this is Hiroshima. And you'll see burnt bodies that are charred. They were killed in a millionth of a second. They dehydrated like a chicken. You cooked in the oven for 6 hours in low heat and then left on the counter for 2 days in the summertime. And so the people were petrified. We're going to show that picture. And so they were dehydrated from all this heat, those particular people. Otherwise, they would have... Okay, let's keep moving here. Plutonium concentration, and we're going to jump back and forth in these pictures, headlines, and these studies, and other stuff. And so just to give you all a little treat before I start boogieing too far down the road here. Get off that picture, Dana. This is a guy who harassed one of our donors for so hard, so much to try to stop us. They harassed a major donor, one of the major donors at the time, known as Jeff Palco. He committed suicide. This person in particular was harassing him for 10 days before he committed suicide, and it was relentless. We got an enormous amount of documentation on it. We're looking for more documentation about this. But anyway, this is that person's it's a 30-second clip. He's known as Connecting Dots 1 in this one here, and it's important that you hear what he's going to say to you right now.
July 24th, 2012, TEPCO, cesium getting stirred up, Fukushima plant still emitting 10,000 becquerels per hour. I told you that this was an ongoing crisis. The number has not stopped. That famous 10 million becquerels of only the cesium-134, 137, when there are hundreds of other more radioactive particles spewing out of Fukushima every single hour, and I can't believe this is not talked about on the news. Your news has let you down. Ding, 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 ding. Wake up!
Maniac. Well, if 50 million people say a foolish thing, it is still a foolish thing. Now, saying that it's like a banana and potato chip and walking in the sunshine is a foolish thing. Saying it's like getting on an airplane is not only foolish, it's extraordinarily dangerous. And that's why we're in this road we are. Canadian official publicly claimed no concern over new Fukushima. Now, the word leak is extraordinarily deceptive terminology, if you want to call it that. Yet privately request a test on salmon due to great public concern about the potential radiation. Officially says there's nothing to worry about, but then because it started to kind of get the message, right? These are the homeless, the destitute, the immigrants who don't speak the language, and why are everybody taking pictures of us? Tokyo drinking water unsafe for infants. Officials, government distributing bottled water. And that's game over. That's the end of it right there. We'll come back over to these studies in a second. Hang on. Just wanted to make sure I got back on my bearing. Canadian political leader shocked by the country's Fukushima response. Get a load of who that was. The Globe and Mail, the biggest uranium stock pushers on the planet. How interesting is that? Let's go over to the studies. Plutonium concentration, 240, 239. Look, whenever you got that, you would have found all the other stuff. But that was looking for that's man-made from uranium. 235. So they got to make 235, then make the 240, 239. And so Amcheka Island in Alaska. Now that was 2013. So plutonium's not going to go away for changes to another isotope, 29,000 years. So they talk about it was measured for the first time in over a decade. They went back and looked at it. And in marine samples were characteristic of the North Pacific Ocean. Now, when was that study done? 2013. How interesting that they claim that this was Amcheka, right? You see what's going on here? But anyway, the kelp and the mussels and the lichen, and there's so many species dependent upon that stuff. Like the kelp. For the 6,500 invertebrates, whatever the backbones dependent upon that habitat. And then all the species of the starfish and other families associated with the starfish that eat mussels were wiped out. Anyway, we're not going to cover that so much right this second, but secondary radioactive contamination of the Black Sea after Chernobyl accident. Recent levels, pathways, and trends, 2013. It showed, and this was the Black Sea water from Chernobyl. Now, Chernobyl was 1/3 the size, 30% meltdown, stopped after 10 days. Chernobyl was graphite fuel. This was with, boric acid is used to take away the neutron bombardments to stop the chain reaction. They have rods. Back in those days, anyway, the graphite was used. Right, and so they had it built together, but because of the hydrogen, the noble gases, they don't need a spark, they just need oxygen to detonate it. So if you build up and you don't notice it or something's not paying attention. But anyway, the radiation, so they looked at 137 and strontium in the surfaces. Okay, let me keep going. I lost my track on what I'm supposed to do here. Plutonium-137, cesium, uranium isotopes from Mongolian surface soils. I'll come back to that one in a minute. So the nuclear, when this is blowing up, this is picking up in the water. This was on an island, but that's water too, right? I'm sorry, they're on an island. They've done tests on this island underneath me right here. But okay, so what's going on here is when that bomb went off, there was this phenomenon discovered about sulfur from the salt water. So there was this sulfur peroxide hydrogen buckyballs, spherical buckyballs. They're kind of like soccer balls, and they're so microscopic they'll get through any filter you got. But excuse me, they ingest the thousands of radioactive isotopes, the ionizing, radiating. Now that water itself, a lot of scientists refer to that as tritiated water, which is ionized water. So you can't get ionizing out of water. And so, like, this is not uranium, yeah? But if this was close to a nuclear reactor, for instance, just a running reactor with or accident, well, the X-rays and the neutrons and the gammas and the beta bursts, these bursts, direct energy bursts, would radiate that to the point where that could radiate somebody and kill them. So something innocent looking can be deadly. Just like a battery can be magnetized on a... Just like a battery can be magnetized... A screwdriver can be magnetized on a battery. Let's keep rolling. Canadian newspaper tried to get soil tested for radiation. Private companies, government agencies, and university all refused to get involved. Now remember what this show is about. This was about today the government and agencies in America and Canada that have announced that they're joined together to monitor radiation. So don't worry about people like Dana. We'll tell you guys, right? Well, Dana's here to show you their history in one video. Hopefully it's still streaming okay. Yeah, Shanikin says the rads are as high as the filter in the back of the box of the fan. So in the back of it, it's yeah, because everything is radiated, right? You are, Elaine. That's a really, 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 really good way to look at it. And like your rail in front of your house is radiated, yeah. Your water sprouts are radiated, but the rail in front of your house is radiated. The rail in front of the business you walk into every day, that's radiated. And this stuff, you just can't wipe it off. You can't even pour battery acid over it and destroy it. Let's keep rolling. Homeless. We done that one. Here's Obama. There we go. Nuclear summit. That one, they were supposed to be in front of P.I. Obama's. I smurfed up. Nuclear summit. Security summit. Nuclear security summit. Every year. Like $500 million, and you got all the players there, so another $1 billion for security. And think about what they're talking about, though. They're talking about security, so the terrorists don't get a dirty bomb. Get a few grams of it and blow it up and contaminate Central Park or New York City with a dirty bomb. Because it's not like a banana. Yeah? And that the people who told you that have really created a whole lot of problems for us, and we'll get into that. Tokyo drinking water unsafe for infants. We covered that one. That's what that infant 5 years later is probably going to say. Inexplicable, but the EPA shut down Fukushima radiation monitoring after finding high levels of radiation in the drinking water. And they put it there where people found it, but the media didn't pick it up and run with it. They didn't come out and say, hey, we got an emergency, even though that's what you paid them to do. Did you give them a job just to ignore it? Did you give them all that equipment to ignore it? Did you give them the authorities to ignore it? Did you ask them to be trained specifically to do certain jobs so you could be warned about it so they can ignore it? Is that why you gave them a pension? Is that why you gave them those helicopters with all the equipment on it? So that you weren't told? Did you pay for all that so they couldn't tell you? So they wouldn't tell you? So they would turn it off? Is that why you paid for all that? See, a lot of people look at it and they really don't. You know, they hear me talking, and then you show them that these studies too at the same time. You show them all the headlines, show them all the studies. It still don't mean nothing to them, right? For the average person, they still just can't wrap their minds around it. What happened at Fukushima? And if you're watching this because you're here to find out. You know enough. You got this far in the video, you never got here by accident. You're tuned in somewhere along that line before you showed up on my stuff. Before you started to absorb this kind of material. Before you said, hey, wait a second. You're switched on. Well, you should be. If you're not, there's something seriously wrong with you. If you don't know by now, because the media didn't tell you. Oh, Dana, the media didn't tell us. Let's keep... So the isotopes were not only there, plutonium, 137, what's the date on it? The 30th January 2016. So the radioactive plumes, I'm not going to do that right now. Let's keep going. So plutonium, there's many other radioactive elements. Once you find cesium or its tracers, and strontium is one of those, cesium is one of those, plutonium's not. But once you find it, then everything else is there. And so we had it throughout the country. It's found already. We don't need to look no more. But you can check the Geiger counter up there in the corner. Up there, like in France, they package it up at 17 becquerels. In Germany, they throw it in the nuclear waste sites at 5 becquerels per kilogram. We'll get to some of that coming up. So this is the first report of plutonium concentration in Mongolian surface soil. Well, that's all it got there is surface in that. Poor Mongolia. I don't even know if they got trees there, do they? No offense to people from Mongolia. You're good people. Trust me. I love you. Hugs for you. So the numbers you've seen and the energy that it's talking about, you got to talk about all the other radioactive isotopes. Now, you're not talking about, anybody that talks about unisievers or millisievers don't know what they're talking about, or they're a nuclear PR firm, or they're just useful idiots. You don't measure radiation in millisievers or unisievers unless you're close to gammas, betas, or alphas, like the actual rods. Everywhere else you're supposed to measure it in atomic decays, atoms. Present on a pulse every second. And if you go suck it into you, you got problems. It might take 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 years for it to manifest and diagnose and show up. Ionizing radiation effects on soil biota. And so it kills all the bacteria right away. Ooh, that can't be good. No, because the whole ecosystem depends on bacteria. And then it takes out all the microscopic and microbial life throughout the whole thing. And so that's why you see these forest fires in Chernobyl that are crazy, because the wood didn't decay, because it didn't have the biota, the flora, the fauna. It didn't have this genetic foundation necessary to do the job of breaking down like it would normally break it down. So when you have forest fires, they're out of control. And then you liberate that incredible amount of radiation. Not that it hasn't, like it has continued to come out of Chernobyl. You can't get inside of Chernobyl. The building's full of big holes, just as bad as Fukushima. But Chernobyl's 1/3 size. Chernobyl 30% meltdown. Chernobyl stopped after 10 days. Chernobyl threw 1 million people at it. People ran up on, they distributed the dose out heavily. People went out on the roof for 15 or 20 seconds, went home. Fukushima, they grabbed a homeless Shanghai and bring them in there for weeks. It's murder. And as soon as you complain of anything, they kick them loose, because they're going to die. But they're homeless, so they're going around peeing and puking and crapping nuclear everywhere. They're radiating toilets and sidewalks. Not that that matters, as you'll see in the headlines coming up here. They stop playing around with these freaking headphones. Let's go. Okay, so anyway, Chernobyl is well known how that microscopic world disappeared. And yeah, big life might migrate through it. Oh, there's big furry animals. You got any idea how far they can migrate? And they're hunted by packs of wolves that are in the edges of these areas because easy picking. Lots of sick and injured animals. Deformed babies to snack on. Let's keep going. And so, jump on that one for the next one. Oh yeah, did I do that? Let me jump ahead for a second. Yeah, that's where, because I doubled the headlines, I gotta watch what I'm doing here. I might run into the double one. Now I gotta remember everything, because the first number I had doubled them up. Here we go. Nuclear expert. I really am horrified that the feds abandoned Fukushima radiation monitoring. Why are people saying that? Well, because the feds abandoned radiation monitoring after Fukushima did it. Oh, okay. I'm horrified now, too. So the rods that exploded and detonated went all over the site are doing that all the time until the end of time. Just banging it out there all on their own. They actually went out and did the whole harbor with the special cement because all the rods had blown out there because Fukushima's right by the ocean. Chernobyl's not. Not that it matters. All these big rivers are there. But big deposits went on the land, then washed into the rivers. Wherever there's a big river, everything is above it. So when you have big snowfalls, big torrential rainfalls, and big typhoons, monsoons, the stuff that's not permeated and stuck to something else gets washed down to the river, and then a lot of that's getting liberated in sprays. It's going down to the river into the local land, and some of it's washing back, and the rest of it's radiating everything. EPA radiation monitoring exists so feds can say they have a system. Report data that undermine public support for nuclear power. Thinks watchdog. No, you don't need. What do you got to think about? The nuclear option is ultimately an example of the arrogance of power. Who said that? Mr. Newcomb himself. So you can't make it up, right? Anyway, EPA claimed that no harmful radiation could reach U.S. Like, what are you going to do with these people? What? Jet streams are not real, Dana type people. And so why do they exist? Why are they allowed to get away with it? Why is a nuclear expert yelling at that person? He's going to lose his job. Tactical nuclear penguin, right? And so companies are out there putting this out in the kids' minds all the time, you know? EPA will no longer conduct radiation monitoring related to Fukushima. You want to know why? Because they know shit, see? They already know. Came through once, they don't need to look no more. They're like, why bother? Well, we paid you to do the job. Well, they're like, well, we don't want to do it. Well, then, get out of the way. Why did we create these environment protection agencies? Why did we create nuclear in the first place? You know, the PR firms. Because nuclear is so bad. Like, you take your loved ones to the hospital and you get chemo, chemicals. You look it up, right? But if you actually go down that road, you find out that's the first one to get you in the door. Yeah, we got some good old-fashioned chemicals we want to inject in your body, Mrs., little baby boy. Well, you don't want to? Please! Lock these parents up. We got to kill this child. They got leukemia. It might be contagious. We got to give them radiation therapy. Why would you give people radiation knowing what they know with all these studies, see? It's bizarre land. Oh, the Black Sea. How often have you heard about the Black Sea, by the way? You don't hear about it, say. Still radioactive, just like Fukushima will be for the Pacific and the entire planet. Now, when was this study done again? See, everything that was done, 2013. Everything that's done after 2011, in one sense, is highly suspect. In another sense, it's some good information there. Concentration ratio of plutonium in wildlife from past U.S. nuclear research, December 2013. So all of these are post-Fukushima studies today. We'll come back over that one. Let's keep moving. Boogie in. I'll never get through everything I got here even if I want to. This is now. So these big stacks, these plants are intaking 1 million liters, 1 million gallons. I'm sorry, a minute, not a day, not a week, not an hour, not a quarter of an hour, but a minute. 1 million gallons a minute. And each of the reactors need that, and then they boil that, yeah, and most of it goes up there, that chimney as steam. Okay, bear with me. So some plants will go through 1.2, not million, but billion gallons a day. Okay, 1.4 at another one, billion gallons a day. Now, about 35 to 40 million gallons of it doesn't go up the chimney, no. It goes out back into the ocean or the river. The rest of it went up the chimney. So the 1.2 billion went up the chimney in steam. Okay. Now, the reactor's releases, vents, are going back up there with that steam and mixing in with that. That steam can create snow for 35 miles in right condition. No problem at all. Heavy snow. But not only that, you got 6 times more breast cancer around a nuclear power plant. Now, the fuel pools will boil off about 120,000 liters each a day. The ones that are hot fuel. They have other pools, too, of not so hot fuel. They like to come out and pretend that that's the one they're talking about. Oh, no, it doesn't burn off that much, Dana. No. The hot fuel pools in most of these reactors are burning at least 120,000 liters a day, adding water because it boils it off. That's mixed and winds up in these big chimneys. And where do you take all those radioactive isotopes? From the minute that you put any fuel pools there and you start boiling that water off, you're releasing uranium, plutonium, americium, neptunium, strontium, and everything else into your community. That's why there's 6 times more breast cancer. That's why there's 20 times more leukemias, and up to 90% more leukemias. France, Switzerland, I can't remember. We usually show them too, but let's keep boogieing because I start stalling. We got to stop these sorts of reports coming out. International conference warns that the media talk of Fukushima health effects may be harmful. Alarmist predictions that the long-term health effect of Fukushima nuclear accident in Japan will be worse than those following Chernobyl. 1990. Look, the little ninnies. Chernobyl is 1/3 the size. Chernobyl was a 30% meltdown. 30%. I talk too fast sometimes, I know. Chernobyl stopped after 10 days. Yeah, they're going to be going elephant foot. Fukushima, oh my. Fukushima's out of control. Hasn't stopped. 5 years. Now, the significance being is Chernobyl was equal to 400 Hiroshima bombs in 10 days. Yeah, you say it like the 400. Say it. You can do it. 400. You got to roll that right off. You like 4. Like that. 4. 400. Don't say it like me. Say it right. Say it right. And so 400 Hiroshima bombs. Chernobyl only lost 5% allegedly. The number keeps getting smaller every decade, eh? It was originally 30%. Now it's down to 5%. That's the nuclear industry for you. You gotta love them. No matter what it is, they'll knock it down by at least 1/10 within a couple of years. Oh no, Dana, it wasn't that much, Dana. It was 1/10 that, Dana. And he said, see, a chain reaction, a meltdown, is consuming everything. Not only can it perpetually, it's like the sun where it's just perpetually regenerating itself. That's what a chain reaction is, per se. This is different though. We created this and it consumes everything around it. And that becomes ionized and radiated and atomized. And we're talking, that's why I forgot about the flashlight problem. So flashlights, we talked about earlier, I smurfed that one up. 162,000 little tiny flashlights. And man-made is 88 times 37 billion high-powered flashlights. 88 times 37 billion. Just because for some reason I got a feeling I jumped that part and forgot to mention it. Because I was fooling around again. So when we're talking about a gram of natural, it's 162 flashlights like a pinky with dead batteries, but you can kind of see the little flashlight. But man-made is 88 times 37 billion flashlights, high power ones, 1 watt bulbs. Per se is a way of looking at it. When it comes to actual wattage, is 1 million of those 1 watt bulbs sustaining for 9 months. Where the other ones can't sustain you for 9 months. You're going to get more potassium because your body uses it up. But you can't get any more potassium to your body, but you can get more of anything from a chain reaction in your body. It just keeps sequestering in your body. Your body keeps attacking it. So the more you got, the more your body's attacking. The more your body's attacking, the more oxygen, blood cells, red blood cells with oxygen is getting displaced. And the white blood cells are coming out of your joints and your spleen to try to resolve that for decades. And it can't be done, see? And so it wears you down in a hurry. Alarmists are saying that it's going to be a problem. Yeah, because there's all kinds of freaking studies out there, okay? All right? And we kind of know a thing or two after all this time, all right? Dr. Raymond Gilman, he killed beagle dogs and beagle puppies for 35 years. I skipped through all of that. This one was December 2013. Am I repeating these? What is that? Oh, yeah, this is another one. Persistence over decadal. Okay, that's a nice word. That's a party word. Plutonium in the soil and wildlife was studied in Australia. Gee, I wonder how that got there, because Australia had a couple of dirty bombs down there. They didn't tell anybody about very often. Now they want to put a dump down there. Hey, where does it stop? Should China take back all their TVs? Should America take back all their diapers? Downward mobility of plutonium in soil occurring at 0.2 and 0.3 centimeters per year. Soil animal transfer persisted at about the same rate over the last 30 years. Soil animal transfer is lower for mammals compared with reference values, but you're only looking at plutonium and not looking at the other stuff. Concentration ratio calculations. Don't even get me started. I screw up all the time because you don't have anybody to talk with, right, about numbers. I can't sit here and do videos on numbers. I don't want to listen to me. Get no views at all. I like my videos. You see what's happening to my videos lately? You get up to 284 and it stops, and then it goes down to 254 6, 7, 8, 9 hours later. And then 20 minutes later, something like that, it'll go back up. I got a folder on my desktop of that stuff. They're censoring me on the internet. We got that in court records too, right? They're doing it through the a year before I was charged, they conspired to censor me through the legal system without a warrant that we know about. We're dealing with some dirty people on this planet. But let's keep moving before I lose track anyway. Human bones obtained for routine joint replacement surgery is a tool for study of plutonium, americium, and strontium-90. Body burden in general. Yeah, that must have been a bonanza. Hey, boss, I got an idea. Let's go get all the old hip bones, shoulder bones. Do some radioactive gamma spectrometry. Let's go. I'm losing touch with reality here. Yeah, so everything there is radiated. Everything there is ionized. Everything there, right, will trigger up to 1,800 autoimmune deficiencies. Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, heart, liver, lung, respiratory, diabetes, liver, pituitary. Like your glands are more likely to be affected quicker than the rest of your body, and that's why the thyroid is like you take the studies of the thyroid. There was 13,600 children right after a little over a year after Fukushima had lumps out of thyroid lumps out of 40,000 children. That's over 36%. And then the neutral study was 2001. It was less than 1% of children in the same group, right? And so shoot ahead to Fukushima, a little over a year later. So there's actually over 865,000 cancers jump in Japan after the first year, right? Notice how the media don't tell you that, and you gotta, it's just luck. You find it, but you go and look it up, you'll find it. Meltdown confirmation led Japan officials, I'm going to do more work on that, to begin evacuating on Tuesday. Oh, really? Meltdown confirmation led Japan officials to begin evacuating on Tuesday. A U.S. nuclear agency stopped monitoring Fukushima because the situation had improved. Oh, it's okay now, it's improved. 5 years later, I beg to differ. 5 years later, how many homeless are missing? How many refugees are missing? Apparently Japan has the lowest number of refugees coming into their country. No. They're the same as everybody else. They're getting jacked, taken in there, and then they're getting thrown away. And the ashes are given to the Buddha monks down there because nobody knows who they are. The unknown soldiers. That's really happening. People are being disposed of. People are being sacrificed without sharing the dose. Do you need to send in 6 million people and deal with this reactor? Instead, they've done it on a budget of whatever homeless they could find. You want to have a homeless in a few years, I can assure you. A homeless problem in a few years in Japan, if they last that long. Officials sharply raise radiation levels for residents. Not that iodine pills is really going to help you, but they do help your gland, because your gland is not like an organ where you can replace an organ, kind of, maybe, if you can find a donor, but you can't replace the gland, see? And 75 times higher, right? That's what the officials done. They raised the levels 75 times higher than the World Health Organization recommended for children, rather than give them the iodine that they had stored for that very emergency. Why? Because it was out of control. Why? Because they didn't want people to know what was going to happen next. Why? Because they were going into, you know, like if there was a meteorite coming, these are the people who would run down to the bunker and lock the door. Clink. Bye-bye, boys. Sorry. Haha. You don't think I got this job because I like the hours? I got it just in case the shit hit the fan. The shit will hit the fan. Did I say shit? Is that illegal? Nowhere to run. Hot radioactive particles in Seattle at 50%. Just one of these nights where I'm fudging words, I know. Excuse me. Show me. Latches onto the lung tissue, but it does not only do that. Like, these hot particles, these are bone seekers. These are a heart attack. They'll also go into the big muscle. They'll flow around the blood and they'll start sequestering at the heart because it's pumping and electrically charged more so than the rest of your body. Like, I know people here in this town with 3 and 4 degrees and can't get a job. Like, they're so dysfunctional. They just don't have the confidence, and they're incapable. They're in a hole till the end of time. They can never get out of the hole, and they just barely stay afloat. So what's the sense of getting all these education if you can't apply it, or if it's not applicable, or if you're not going to follow through on it, or you're just going to become lazy and lethargic? That could be radiation doing it to these people. I know one person up here, Canadian Tire, is like unbelievably educated. But you go up and ask them for something, they can't find it. I've done it a couple of times. They got to go ask somebody else to find it almost every time. It's the weirdest damn thing. But they're highly educated. You can sit and talk with them for something else. They'll blow you away, kind of. If you don't argue with them or you don't ask them another questions. Hot radioactive particles in Seattle at 50% of the levels seen in Tokyo. You know why? Because the jet streams are real. Yeah? What? Go away, boy. Jet streams are real, Dana. Yeah, jet streams are real. I know, shock, eh? What? Jet streams are real. Bioaccumulation in seabirds. Seabirds! There's 500,000 birds died up the coastline. 500,000. That don't mean nothing to you, but that study does a bit. The headlines I'm showing you don't mean anything, but that study probably does, right? All those studies, what do you think of all these studies? Are they good? Are they bad? To anybody that is not familiar with this, like, right, just for 1 second, I'm just, does that not mean something to you? Yeah, well, Dana, okay, Dana, it's from a actual academic, Dana, with a degree, Dana. Okay. So that's okay, though. You're willing to consider that as kind of like, you know, documentation, right? How it works. All this stuff I'm showing you, does that help you? Okay. How about This guy. Dr. Raymond Gilmedy. Look at his studies. They kind of look the same, yeah? Hang on, I'll fix that for you. I'll fix it. Dana, fix it. Good. No, Dana, fix it. Okay, I'm getting to it. Come on, man. Give me a break, right? Okay. What did he show? Curium isotopes. Okay. Okay. Oh, I didn't go smally on that one either. Hang on. Biokinetic model inhaled compounds. Curium isotopes. See over here? I put myself behind it so you can read it better. Curium isotopes are a major byproduct in radiated nuclear fuel rod. Oh, look, Dana, I couldn't read one word there, so I don't know if it was true or not. Dana was probably hiding that word on purpose, so I put myself behind it. So you couldn't say that to me. So Lovelace, Dr. Raymond Gilmedy, has got 94 studies on plutonium and americium. And the most popular isotope on the planet, the biggest producer of irradiated fuel rods is, wait for it, curium. Not just 244, but many curium isotopes. And not that, curium acted just like the toxicity of plutonium, 239, 240, 241 rather, in other studies that he's done. But what happened? Oh, well, third sentence from the top, tumor of the lung, the skeleton, and the liver occurred beginning at about 3 years after exposure to the dogs for 35 years. Bone tumors, none of the dogs survived, every dog died. Bone tumors found in 93 dogs were the most common cause of death. Gee, I wonder what that means. Let me try that again. Bone tumors found in 93 dogs, 93 out of 144, were the most common cause of death. Are they saying that the bone tumors were the most common cause of death? I think that's probably what he's saying. And lung tumors found in 46 dogs were the second most common cause of death. So the plutonium wasn't lungs as much as it was bone tumors. Because everybody talks about the lungs all the time. Oh, you're going to get a big hole in your lung. It's true. Then it gets in your bone. That's all I'm saying. Okay? All right? Well, that's not enough to worry about because you're going to have liver tumors too. One of them going to get you. And they do. Every time for 35 years. But is Dr. Raymond Gilmedy the only mass murderer of beagle dogs and beagle puppies on the planet? Well, there's many Dr. Raymond Gilmedy just in America. Not mentioning Canada, Israel, or Pakistan. Who knows what they're doing down there in India? You can imagine the misery animals go through down there. But the biggest product is curium isotopes. There's not iodine, not cesium, not strontium. There's tracers, so you know there's curium there. So you know that the americium's there. So you know that there's Neptunian and all their daughters are there. Now I talk in an accent. Nothing I can do about it. There's jack I can do about it. That's tritium studies. Hang on. I gotta figure out where I was to. Oh. I was like 164. She won't load, Dana. Here she is, baby. I'm guessing I put it there. I don't know where I put it anymore. Oh boy. It can't be good. Oh yeah, I put it here. Here we go. I know where to put it. You don't want to look at me like that, do you? Let's go back here. Oh. Let's hope that works. Let's keep running. Nukes are for everyone. Yeah, once you have an accident, everybody's going to get the cancers. Feds to conduct aerial radiation survey near Seattle. I tried to mix that one to another word, didn't work. Seattle to get baseline readings, measuring gamma emitters like radioactive cesium. They also put an A there too, right, when they pronounce that word, and iodine. But these are just tracers. What are you worried about? She won't bite. Nuclear dog, and you got this great big dog. Like you got Spider-Man. How did he get his power? From nuclear insect contaminated by nuclear waste, right? But the insects are the first ones affected, destroyed, annihilated, extinction. If they're unique to that biosphere, that area where the plant is, many are micro environments, micro ecosystems. Many spots are like that where they have many species that you won't find anywhere else on the planet or anywhere else in that country in those areas. Nuclear, I mean, it's boiling 1 million gallons a minute. So let me run back there 1 second. So 1 million gallons of salt water is 1 billion creatures per glass. That's 16 million glasses per minute per reactor times 1 billion. Not counting the eggs and larvae and small fries and everything else that is sucked in. Okay? All right. So a single particle of plutonium on the lung tissue, that's why the dogs died the way they did. No matter how small they had made those particles. And so this is why we see 500,000 birds recently starved to death. It's because they took out that ocean up north. Why we see all the whales are emaciated, going from 12 inches of blubber down to 4 inches. And why the 500,000 birds starved to death. Couldn't find the anchovies. They couldn't find the anchovies, the squid, the herring. They couldn't find all the other species. These are species counts that I've done along the coastline of Canada. And we're not going to go down the road just for a second, but the species have been wiped out here in British Columbia, right from one end of Canada to the other end of Canada. You can find that information up at the nuclearproctologist.org. Let's keep rolling, rocking, because we got so much to cover. If I jump down that road, I'm going to get into trouble. So, they found in all the species that they looked at, they targeted. And plutonium is an interesting one, because when did they do that study? 2011 in December. So these are all highly suspect studies. But and so they're targeting these long range, because they couldn't target iodine down there, that would be too obvious. This one here was June 2011. All right, let's keep going. Short and long-term dispersion patterns of radionuclides in the atmosphere around the Fukushima nuclear power plant. Excuse me, 176 on the 193 on the Geiger counter. And I'm going to have a cigarette. It doesn't have 7,000 chemicals. So why did all your universities, your academics, your people I'm supposed to be able to trust, not tell me that? There's 7,000 chemicals. Why do they all say nicotine is going to give you cancer? Huh? And you haven't been able to prove it after 50 or 60 years. But we know for a fact there's 7,000 chemicals in cigarettes. Mine don't got them. You got to get the CNT green ones. By the way, I'm really doing good on that. But I'm happy now because I got through so much material tonight. I'm really happy I got through as much as I did. Hopefully it came out good on your end. Hopefully the audio is good. Hi everybody. Hi Nip Killer, Gary, Shanikan, CJ Amthers, Patty. Hi everybody. Let me come and say hi for a few minutes because it's gonna be a little bit longer show tonight. Unfortunately, I want to get through as much as material as I got. So hi everybody, and we appreciate the commenting, even though it might disappear. Well, it will. All your comments will disappear when the video is over, re-renders and pops back up. That's the gift of Google to you. Google loves you. Happy Monday, Elaine. Hi, CJ, Patty, and anybody I missed. Cruise me, Gary, Mindy, night, Gerald, having a ciggy right now. Well, we're not going to go much past the regular show. Nip Killer. Well, we'll probably be 10 minutes past the regular 1 hour show. That's because we got so much documentation. Why put it there if I'm not going to do it? Right. Yeah, you know I'm right. You know it. You know it. You're not just blowing stuff out the pipe. No. I don't smoke like that. I smoke like this, okay? So I'm not a bad smoker compared to that guy. Yeah? I think I'm doing pretty darn good. He's only been smoking 2 weeks. He's addicted, that guy. Hot particles found at 2 out of 3 U.S. monitoring stations during April, including Boston, And there be an increase in cancer, especially on the West Coast. Gee, you think so? Hot particles found at 2 of the 3 monitoring stations. Hot particles. That's the sulfur peroxide, hydrogen buckyballs. With the uranium and americium, Neptunians, or just anything in them. It doesn't matter what's in them. Curium. I'm worried about curium. I'm not worried about iodine. Not worried about cesium. Not worried about strontium. I'm not even worried about the plutonium. I'm worried about curium. I am worried about them. Don't get me wrong. They're scary shit, okay? Not as scary as that headline. Hot particles. It was a lot worse than that. There was 360 average ingested daily in California. In Seattle, they figured it was 10, probably a couple of hundred, most likely. We know in California you can expect up to 360 in another study for the males to go into their testicles. So there's sad times coming. They're going to have a nuclear war before this all starts manifesting. See, this is a death machine. That's all it is. This is so irradiated. This will cook you if you try to go in it. You'd die in about 20 minutes. Your organs would melt in less than that. Radiation data from Seattle area survey maybe is withheld. Slow it down, Dana. By feds for national security purposes. Well, the fallout that came over here, what we should have done was we should have went out. By the way, that is what chills your spine when you read an account of a suicide. That is what that is. That's what these people had done to us. That's what they wrote that night. This is their suicide notes. Not the frail corpse hanging from the window bars, but what really happened inside that heart immediately before they withheld all that documentation and hid it away from everybody. You know what I mean? That's what chills my soul anyway, my spine. Nuclear waste being processed during an explosion in France had radioactivity of 17 becquerels a kilogram. And they were packaging it up for the nuclear waste sites. 17 becquerels a kilogram. 11 becquerels cause permanent lesions to a children's organ in their food, in their water. And you suck up 3 liters, which is like 7 pounds of water when you get a long bath. So take short showers. So France throws his food away at 5 becquerels. France is even better, or I'm sorry, Germany is better. Germany is like France, where it threw its food away at 5 becquerels. Well, not away, but threw it to a nuclear site, packaged it. It's nuclear waste, see? And what they're doing to us is 1 million becquerels per cubic meter right across Canada and North America. Of all the nasties, particularly curium. And in another few years, boy, oh boy, oh boy, the human population. Right now, all the population, animal kingdom, has been slaughtered on the west coast of Canada. Slaughtered. All the species in the ocean have been slaughtered, literally slaughtered by this over 5 years. The anchovies, the herring, just all the species have been decimated. All the bird species decimated. I've done 260 days, 15,000 miles of this coastline in Canada, and this was the tally. The total extinction event. They got 30 million of these 1-ton bags from 4 buildings. You can't make that up if you wanted to. 30 million 1-ton bags, which is nothing. We should have that about 30 billion here in Canada picked up. We should be doing the same thing in Canada. No different. You know why? Okay, I'll tell you why. Because it sits around forever. They get absorbed into everything, like I've been showing you all night long. What's wrong with you? Didn't you know that already? Monitoring your aerosols after Fukushima nuclear power plant incident. Yeah, baby, we got it all, baby. Whoa, we got everything. Yeah, that's what we talking about. We are greedy. We are radiation hogs. That's what those people are. They're radiation hogs. They stole all the good stuff. See it? Buggers. Oh, well. Let the winners keep their spoil, I guess. When was that study? Oh, that was right after, that was September 2012 it came out. They went and took samples right after it, and then they analyzed it. They said, okay, you do it. They're arguing for a whole year. No, you do it. No, I'm not doing it. It's too hot, man. I don't want to get close to that shit. Hey, we got a new intern coming in. Let's get them to do it. Evidence of the radioactive fallout in the center of Asia. You know why? Because the jet streams are real, yeah? Following the Fukushima nuclear accident. When was that? 2011? 6 months? 007. What was that all about, I wonder? They got another calendar besides the one I got? Whatever. Evidence of radioactive fallout. Maybe that was a key way of them saying, hey, people are making us put shit here we don't want to put here, and we can't tell the whole story. That's what that was. So they snuck that out there. Nudge, nudge, like a nudge, wink, wink, you know? Think about it. Hey, November 2011, evidence of radioactive fallout. Oh, I just clicked that one, Dana. Get busy. We found good old cesium-134. And so it decays to another radioactive isotope in 2 years. So it's a very important one. 131 iodine, there's 10 times more 132, 30 times more 133, 31 times more iodine 129 with a 15 million year half-life that come out of a chain reaction is ionizing and radiating. It's got nothing to do with the solar ones. You know, like the people tell you about nature and solar, right, and space rays and all this other stuff. Got nothing to do with chain reaction isotopes or nuclear or anything from the uranium production. Everything's come from uranium. The biggest producer is not iodine, it's not cesium, it's curium. And there's many daughters of the curium from that chain reaction, different atomic weights. But hey, you know, these are the tracers. That's what we got. Shut up and keep going. Arrival time and magnitude of airborne fission products from Fukushima, Japan reactor incident is measured in Seattle, Washington. That was a big sentence. Why do they make those sentences so long? They put like a comma there somewhere. I ain't got the wind they got. Wave report results of air monitoring started due to the recent natural catastrophe. Natural. It was natural to build a nuclear power plant right by the ocean so a tsunami can get at it in a place where tsunamis happen all the time? Oh, okay. Earthquakes happen like 1,000 a year? Oh, okay. But anyway, they found something and got whatever. Who cares? Oh, you know, it's got no energy, Dana. Yeah, okay. Radiological impact in Korea following the Fukushima. It showed up everywhere, didn't it now? Yeah? Let's jump back over to the other ones because we're going to run out of time if not. Time is ticking. Nationwide TV in Japan toxicity of plutonium not very different than salt. So safe you can drink it. Really? Here, I got some for you. Want it? Here, come here, little boy. Yeah. Yummy. Okay, we'll see you, buddy. You have a good life. Hey, he's a dead man walking. So, like the lion's dirty, pooey, never mind. Did I smurf this one up? Oh, yeah, hang on. I'll fix it. Oh. Who knows what I got done now? He was too high quality, probably. New York authorities hit radioactive plume. Forecast avoid evacuation. Mayor says it's akin to murder. Not akin to murder. That's murder. That's the problem with radiation. That's why you have all the terrorist drills. That's why you have all these evacuation plans. That's why you're building bomb shelters for decades. That's why all the dogs died in all the studies. That's why I got that big knot tied. Because I don't... The nuclear plant that never was, you know, like, takes you 30 or 40 years to get it to work, and then it has nothing but trouble forever. You got to burn billions every year on security. You got nowhere to put the waste. It's hemorrhaging into the environment, even though the charter where you originally started these plants said nothing got out. And all you do is let it all out. You can't contain it because of the noble gases. It'll detonate with oxygen. Indoor mushroom contains 1,778 becquerels a kilogram indoors. Government is going to determine the cause. Oh, okay. You got any idea how ludicrous that one is? That's, I'm sure, by Chernobyl, a reactor was shut down. Zombie-free zone! Yeah, that's why he walks in with a gun, shoots everybody. That's what nuclear is. It's a gun going into a gun-free zone and shooting everybody. Well, except it takes them a few decades before they start liquidating their assets to deal with the illnesses. U.S. state agencies work together in tracking Fukushima radiation. Now they didn't, look. And so Chernobyl, this is the new sarcophagus. You got to do that for the next 3,000 years. You know why they got to do that for 3,000 years? Okay, I'll tell you. They got to do it because the impact lasts for at least that long. Evidence of radioactive fallout in the center of Asia and Russia. Did I do that again? Hang on. So northern Greece due to Fukushima. Okay, that was when? These should be all after 2011. That's right. I got some wackados, man. Fukushima fallout in Northwest German environmental media. I don't even remember any of these. Traces of short and long-lived fallout. I got so much. I know it was a good folder because I got it in that one which says good folders, okay? So it was a good folder. I just went with it. Give me a break. Were found in environmental samples collected in Northwest Germany. Oh, okay. When? Oh, September 2011. Gee, that's a coincidence. Coincidence because they also found it off Vancouver Island that time. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, gee. Well, Dana's not true, Dana, because the experts said they didn't. And so we don't care about all the studies you showed us, Dana. They don't mean nothing, Dana. Someone came on TV and said it's okay. Dana, you conspiracy theorist. It's like a banana, Dana. Oh, okay. In response to Fukushima. So 133XE attacks your lung the same way plutonium does. The exact same way. Pops a big hole into it. Radioactive impact Fukushima accident. In another spot. Evolution and plume previous pathways. Some pretty cool stuff, actually. Let's read that tonight. Elevated radio xenon detected remotely following the Fukushima nuclear accident. Why? Because the jet streams are real. 7,000 kilometers from the emission point. You know why? Because the jet streams are real, see? Yeah, that's right. So the government knew all about it. Now all of a sudden they're going to be the heroes. They hid it away. 6,000 becquerels a kilogram of cesium in the mushrooms from Bulgaria. June the 12th, 2011. And then nuclear is looking less green, yeah? Initially it was thought, oh, that should have been deer. So the Bulgarian, initially it was thought the mushrooms had been irradiated by the Fukushima disaster. Said that this is how they covered it up, right? They come out with one line and said, oh, then everybody come out and went, holy shit, and they said, no, they made a mistake. And that's how they took the wind out of people's sails with stories just like that. Right? And then they come out and said, no, that was a mistake. Right? And got everybody excited. They were looking less green. Tactical nuclear penguin bear. Why would you do that? Why would you say that? Well, you're just a drunk, obviously, hopefully. Hopefully it's not a PR firm stunt, right? That's how it works, though. They infiltrated every aspect of our life. Now our safe cesium levels, Yokohama mushrooms reached 3,000 becquerels, already eaten by hundreds of children, aged under 12 years of age. You got any idea what it's going to be like for them? What it's like for them already? Like I say, 13,600 has thyroid problems within the first year out of 40,000. Oh no, Dana, the equipment they were using more sensitive. No, it wasn't. They calibrated in other prefectures. Then they went down to Fukushima and had this boom number. But the apologists, that's what they do. They come out, and when heavy stories like this come out, they'll come out with all these cliches from the nuclear industry. You can find every one of the cliches back in the 40s, 50s, 60s movies of the nuclear industry about the government put out. They're using the exact same narrative today and have been ever since they started using it. Today is just, they do it with more bling. They do it with graphics and everything else. It's the exact same words, the exact same narrative though. You go back and watch those old PR firm movies from the government. Nowhere is safe. 50s, 60s, and 70s movies, black and white stuff. It'll freak you out. It'll just, the parallels to today is unimaginably bang on. Word for word, verbatim. Cesium levels in Yokohama mushrooms reached almost 3,000. Oh, we just done that, Dana. Radioactive strontium detected 2 more locations. This was Yokohama. I'm only doing that to show you how bad this really is just for them. Just for those people. Because they deserve a voice too. They've already been to hell. They've already been to hell, and now they're living in hell. Now they've been betrayed by the very people they hired and the academics that they're supposed to be able to turn to. An academic is another word for traitor. An academic is another word. And there's some good ones out there, don't get me wrong. But the majority of them are bad apples. Real bad. Rotten apples. 90-odd% of academics, working academics, if you're actually in the industries, if you're in the institutions, you're a bad person. We know you are. We know you cover up all kinds of things. You put your name and your word on things that should never have been uttered. And that if you had a accountability and ethics board to hold you accountable, you wouldn't do it. Because you lose your degrees in a heartbeat. Same for the media. New York Times government said nothing to fear in Tokyo and came to test results. 1.5 million becquerels near a church in the capital. Not to worry about. 1.5 million becquerels. Children walking past it, people, animals playing near it, birds migrating through it. Just disgusting what they got done. Rather than tell the truth, rather than deal with it, man, oh man up and deal with it, get busy. No, the nuclear panicked. The nuclear industry itself panicked. And with help of the media and the universities and governments, perpetuated this lie up until the point now where we have a death of the Pacific Ocean. And all the animals on the coastline have been destroyed down to 1% to 1%. Atom bomb hit and the city vanished. And so this 40,000 foot was radioactive dust. Like these are only small bombs, 1 pound, 1.5 pounds. And it sucked up all this earth and it ionized and radiated in that millionth of a second. That become as deadly as the fissionable products. Look, if you take a reactor and you spray water over it forever, that's fissionable product you're releasing back into the environment on a scale you can't even wrap your mind around. Trust me. It's infinitely more, we are to the solar system, or an atom is to the accidents, but we are to the solar system. It's inconceivably insignificant by itself, but if you get it in you, it's a cancer. But that one might take 10, 20, 30 years to manifest, 50 years to manifest and diagnose. But that whole time you're being attacked. But what we got going on is way different. It's in all of our food, it's in all of our water, we're breathing it all the time. We're in an event. We had an event on this planet. And you people better start planning ahead. You better thinking ahead. You better start understanding and realizing that the wealth of information, was I bringing that stuff up? Was I just talking? Atom bomb hit a city and everybody disappeared. Radiation data. What they do in the case of a nuclear accident, you kiss your loved ones goodbye. First time since the meltdown, surge in radioactive cesium levels caused incinerators. They're burning at the incinerators, not that stuff there. No, they got 30 million one-ton bags like that for 4 buildings. But they're burning it in all the incinerators across the country. Hundreds ill after Fukushima nuclear plant. Think about the forest fires come over here. These particles are way bigger than what's there. These are burning at 3,000 degree Fahrenheit temperatures. Forest fires are not. But they're able to make it all the way over to North America and add to the pollution indexes. I know some people don't like me berating on academics, but I have showed the academic is the biggest breach in academics in history of people's trust. Academic after academic after academic has sat by and let the industry lie and perpetrated the lie upon us and have forsaken their responsibilities to the point where they have belligerence and intolerance for people that might question them or their motives. How dare anybody question an academic? And who the freak do you think you are? How arrogant and pompous, and how much hubris do you really have to think that way? I'm not above scrutiny. I don't think anybody's above scrutiny. How could you be? Why would you be above scrutiny? Because you got a degree. All of a sudden you're somebody's gift, are you? The majority you can't get a job. You get a job for a PR firm, you got to destroy lives to get a paycheck, which is what you're suited for. This is what you're good at. Hundreds ill after Fukushima nuclear plant rubble burned in major Japanese city. It's okay, Dana's over there. No, it's not. It comes right over here. The jet streams are actually real. A lot of this goes straight into the ocean and washes over here. It's picked up and liberated by rain through convection and evaporation. Finds its way into Canada and North America. Quack, quack. Nuclear. No, it's like a banana, Dana. Fukushima plant will burn radioactive waste. Incinerators run around the clock, including building materials and clothing. If it was only building material and clothing, we'd be laughing. That'll never be burnt in the reactor. or in those things. It'll always be nuclear waste because that's all they got so much to know what to do with it. The nuclear scientists are the most disgusting thing imaginable. They know what they're doing. They're not stupid. They got an education. The lies they tell, it's like every time a nuclear scientist tells you, well, there's a lot of natural radiation out there, you get up and walk out. You put a comment there and say, I'll never listen to you again. You get in their faces, won't take them long. They'll either shut up or come around. But that's what you're going to have to do. These people are not going to go quietly. These are the whack jobs of our society. These are the arbitrators of our deaths and the extinction event that is playing out in front of us. Because they won't give an inch. Because then everybody will lose faith into them. Their families will turn on them. Their friends and their loved ones and their neighbors will disavow them. 88% of the cesium and radioactive ash. The ash after they burn it in the incinerator. 88% of that left over is not even contained. It blows away. You wash into the landfills, into the rivers and the estuaries and lakes. All your fire, there's the flying cats. They're nuclear scientists, by the way. Not stupid duck hunters. Report from Japan. Radioactive fallout from Fukushima incinerators plants being hidden. Very odd. Really? Really? You think that's odd? You don't know much, do you? Every industry that nuclear is quack quack. Japan to burn drums of unprocessed radioactive waste. France, they package it at 17 barrels. Germany, 5 barrels they throw the food away or contaminants away on a nuclear waste site. Not away, but on a nuclear waste site. Here they burn incinerators, and we should all be singing, keep it over there, Japan, keep it over there. Your ashes and your incinerators, keep it over there. He spent the summer on a power plant cooling pond, so he's a healthy looking duck, and the other ones are not, right? Like Spider-Man's super, the Hulk is super powerful, and SpongeBob, they're classic or something. These are all manifestations of radiation that perpetrated into your little world or children's world or to the docile world. 300,000 times more radiation released in the atmosphere from burning debris than the government will ever admit to. If it was only that much, we'd be okay. Well, that's pretty good. It's only 300%. We know how they like. Could have been a couple of million%. At least it's only 300. You got any proof of that, by the way? Can I see that paper? No, you can't, Dana. There's government trying to contaminate every region in Japan and North America and the Pacific Ocean by burning radioactive debris. And if everything and everyone is contaminated, then in a relative sense, shut your pie hole. Right? That's what they went and done. That was their old shit plan. Burning it in the incinerators, bring it to other places that are not irradiated so they can stop bragging, so people will stop moving out of other areas, so the government can get their pensions. That's all that is about. Government don't want to lose their job. Tell you nothing. Oh, they'll die, but we'll have the cure because we're government. They might be a nuclear war. It's okay, we got bunkers. Right? We got all their money. They're going to move Tokyo's government office a couple of 100 kilometers south. Yeah? I got all kinds of headlines on that one. After the accident. Fuck all of you. Let's move it all north. South, rather. I honestly think for those that can run away from here, it's better to run away. That's not very encouraging, is it? I asked the government to kill me. It's better to be dead than alive these days. Now, anybody that listen to the audio, that's actually a headline. It's not me saying that. Right? Remember what happened a week after I got arrested? Was Constable Steve Crux from the Victoria Saanich Police Department, a private police force, sent 2 RCMP officers, boy, with allegations that I was suicidal. As if someone like me was suicidal. As if I would be suicidal. When I was pounding their guts. They done that in the hopes the cops would come here and spook me or scare me or do something stupid and have a controversy, right? Japan government agency, but I'm not allowed to defend myself. I'm not allowed to, they're allowed to come back and demonize me in the media, but I'm not allowed to use the media to come back and retort. I'm not allowed to use the media and say, hey, wait, there's another narrative. Yeah? You don't know what I'm talking about. Some of you do. Japan government agency compares radioactive material to an angry and agitated wife fighting with her husband. That's where all the mas and pas in that community gets down there with a big piece of rope, 400 or 500, and hangs them from a tree. When the cops shows up and says, who did it? All 400 or 500 said, I did. You're next. They'll go away, trust me. Don't worry about nuclear radiation. That's the real issue. They grab all your money. And man, when I'm talking about that, you have no concept of what I'm talking about. You have no idea why your communities are devastated and destroyed. Because these guys are looting everything, and you got no pensions for your loved ones, and your grandparents are all going to lose everything they got in the near future because they're looting everything. And I'm telling you, it's like a banana. Why do you let them get away with that? Why do you sit so idle? Why does the academics who can come out and beat these people apart stay silent? Why do they not have the drive or the energy or the will to tell the truth? Why is there not a single academic on the planet willing to come out and challenge the status quo with actual, oh, Dana, but you're not an academic, Dana, therefore your words mean nothing. Well, I got some news for you. I bring you the words of many people. I bring you the stories that you will never find on your own. You won't even consider it, and you don't even know it exists. And I'll bring it to you in recent arrival time and magnitude of airborne fissionable products. What's wrong with that? High dose rate zones due to the Fukushima. Boom. Everywhere you go. Where were all these studies? September 2012. January 2016. Spontaneous lesions in the ectodermal glands of experimental Winstar rats. Experimental rats. These are GMO and beagle dogs. Now, I showed you the studies earlier, the beagle dogs and beagle puppies. Dr. Raymond Gilmedy from Loveless Respiratory Research Institute in New Mexico. Okay, let's wind it down. Call it a day. Told you I wouldn't get through everything. Bye, everybody. What's so bad about a nuclear bomb, eh? Yeah, it all started with, Madame Curie. She lost her first hand, but she kept going, and now we're able to make everybody else lose their hands. Before Fukushima, 100 becquerels a kilogram of cesium is nuclear waste. After, 100 becquerels a kilogram of cesium, safe to eat. Fukushima will start burning 100,000 becquerels a kilogram, 1.1 billion pounds of debris in the exclusion zone, radiative stuff they're going to burn. Massive radioactive waste buildup in Tokyo suburbs. And that's from Tokyo neighbors, cesium approaching levels, 78,000 becquerels. Here's the nuclear industry. Quack, 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 quack. Whack, 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 whack. The nuclear industry. Twisted, demented. Rain caused 29 million becquerels a square meter in the soil by Tokyo. And game over. That's game over. Don't eat anything, nor to Japan. Don't eat anything from Japan. I can show you numbers right across Japan. 500,000 here, 500 million there, 600,000 here. And these are tracers. That means everything else is there. We're talking many reactors went down. We're not talking something that lasted 10 days like Chernobyl. Chernobyl was a paper towel. You people need to get on board and understand we had an event on this planet. And we are knocking on heaven's door in every sense of that word. Over 4,000 becquerels a kilogram of cesium after you clean it. That's from fog, right? Just fog, just liberating it up there, and your children are walking to school. That's happening here in North America. And you won't do nothing. You won't stand behind the only people out there fighting for your future, fighting for your right and your children's future. Because you ain't going to do it. You ain't going to get out there and scrap. You ain't going to take the blow back like I've done, are you? You're not going to have to stand up, get back up on your feet every day, are you? And take the blows that I take constantly. And take the suspicion and the rejection that I take constantly for driving the true and narrow courses. No, that's why I'm on this planet. I'm here to do it for you. I've been sent here to make sure that you had an opportunity to do the right thing. I can't make you do it, but I've been sent here to motivate you so that there's no excuses for you in the future. Let's come on and say goodnight to everybody. Hugs for everybody. Hi, Ellie. That's a hard name to have this day and age, Ellie. No, that's a joke. That Amherst route there. Hi, Joe Pia, 51. CJ, you're welcome, Steve. We STVWHI. Can't pronounce your name. And the camera over here is on my Geiger counter. I got to get another. I can take 2 more cameras and plug in. Well, not really. I got the computer plugged into one of those camera ports. That's why we got the computer showing up here, right from the camera port. And just to get through just like to record a video and put it on the internet is crazy hard. To do a live stream is insanely hard, incredibly and unbelievably. Like it's like so exhausting. You have like it's just unbelievable. Hi, Alex. Lawrence. I know Corey was out there. Corey sent me an email for a happy weekend. Thanks, Corey. Gerald. I can't keep up with everything. I'm trying. Hi, Frankie. And everybody, Elaine, and everybody, Candace, and everybody else I didn't get to. Jan Brooks is out there. She's got a strike on her account. And she's trying to put up little short videos. She can't put up long videos. She's kind of burnt out. She'll be back. But she's now with the long videos. And keep an eye on her Miss Milky the Clown original channel, too, because she's sometimes posting there now. Okay, hugs for everybody. Thank you, everybody. You know, the worst part about all of this is all those wonderful comments are gone at the end of the night. And that's okay, because they're immortalized in the video, a lot of them, right? And so that's cool, too, see? And so that's why it's important I always come over here. Hi, Patty. Thank you. Everybody that I don't get to. That's the way it works. Dana, stop clicking on shit. Okay, that's all we got. I kind of burnt out. Oh, we made it an hour and 25 minutes, did we? Good show. That's what we're trying to do. Hugs for everybody. Take care, folks. I just wanted to make sure I got everybody in the comment. I said hi to everybody before I gave up on it. And I really enjoyed the show tonight. And I do got most of your comments there now. I'll grab them and put them in the archive for myself. And we appreciate your commenting. Even though Google's going to get rid of it in a few minutes when I end the video, that conversation is important, trust me. It's immortalized, like you say, in the video, so at least we do that. And we talk about it, and we talk to you. And we show you all the studies, we show you all the documentation, we show you all that information. And then the only thing I didn't show you was that one right there. We were out on the boat 260 days and done the whole coastline, right? And so instead of being wonderful, the whole coastline was stripped. And all those species I showed you earlier, that's the real deal. Hugs for everybody. Take care, folks. We'll see everybody on the rebound. I'm Dana Durnford, nuclear proctologist. You can find more of these videos and presentations at Beautiful Girl by Dana on YouTube and everywhere else on the internet. Take care.